Hello there guys, welcome to one of my videos. On this video I am going to be giving you a preview for the Manchester United FC Copenhagen game. Monday night 8 o'clock kickoff at Old Trafford. It is the Europa League quarter final. And it is our 26th European quarter final. And I think it's actually FC Copenhagen's first ever European quarter final. Whoever wins out of Manchester United and Copenhagen do play the winners of Wolves and Sevilla. Obviously, in the previous round, we had beaten Lask 2-1 at Old Trafford, and we had beaten them 5-0 in the first leg. So in total, we won 7-1 on aggregate. FC Copenhagen in the previous round, they beat Istanbul Başakşehir by 3-0, but there was actually no 1-0 down from the first leg. The last time we played FC Copenhagen, I think, was back in the group stages of the Champions League back in 2006 and the 2007 season. I think we did lose at their ground by 1-0, but we did beat them at Old Trafford by 3-0. We are looking to reach our second European semi-final since Alex Ferguson's retirement. Now, it is going to be interesting to see how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer approaches this game. I do expect him to make quite a lot of changes from our 2-1 win against Lask recently. Obviously, in the second leg against Lask, Solskjaer rested a lot of key players. Obviously, David De Gea, he didn't play any part in the game. Obviously, there's a possibility chance that De Gea could be back in goal for this game against FC Copenhagen. I personally wouldn't put David De Gea in goal. There's some Manchester United fans that have said, we should sell David De Gea in this summer transfer window. I don't think we will sell him in this summer transfer window though. Like I've said to you, David De Gea has been a liability in the last couple of years, reflecting on the calamitous mistakes he has made. De Gea has had 7 good years out of the 9 years he's been at Manchester United, and he is now approaching his 10th year at the football club. De Gea has made 404 appearances for Man United in all competitions, and 312, I think, appearances have come in the Premier League. But Solskjaer was talking about David De Gea the other week, saying that he has been the best goalkeeper in the world for the last 9 or 10 years or so. Because he has won everything domestically at the football club, and he has won individual awards reflecting on his good run of performances over the years. But if we was to sell De Gea in this summer transfer window, or was to sell him in the next year or two, we'd still get more than the 18-odd million pounds that were paid for him from Atletico Madrid. So Solskjaer's got a decision to make. Is he going to put De Gea in goal for the game against Copenhagen, or is he going to stick with Sergio Romero? Because obviously, Romero was in goal in the game against Lask. Romero does tend to play in the cup games anyway. There's a possibility chance that we could actually sell Romero in this summer transfer window. I think we'd demand around 5 or 6 million pounds for his services. I think Romero's got a year left on his contract, but Man United do have an option to extend it for the further year, because when we do recall Dean Henderson from his loan, that means then Sergio Romero will be our third choice goalkeeper. I do believe for next season that Dean Henderson should be our number 1. I'm actually not sure though if he's going to be our number 1 for next season. Solskjaer did recently say that he doesn't feel as though Dean Henderson is ready to become our number 1. But I think Dean Henderson has now got that experience behind him, because he's enjoyed 2 successful loan spells with Sheffield United, and he has been Sheffield United's player of the season. Dean Henderson's still got a contract at Man United until 2022. Stories have been coming out recently saying that we've offered him a new deal with around £60,000 a week, so his wages will increase. His wages will increase 5 times, basically. But Solskjaer was saying before obviously the season finished that, Dean Henderson's done very well at Sheffield United, and he said he expects Dean Henderson to be England's number one and Manchester United's number one goalkeeper in the future and that. But obviously Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he didn't play any part in the game against Lask. In the second leg, obviously, he was rested was Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, in the game against Lask, we decided to go with Fosu Mensah instead. But I think for this game against FC Copenhagen, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is going to be starting at right back. Obviously, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is our first choice right back. This was his first season at Manchester United, and I think he's enjoyed a pretty good season. Towards the end of the season, did look a bit fatigued, did look a bit off the pace. But prior to that, very, very good right back. We got Aaron Wan-Bissaka in a deal worth £50 million last summer, and we did get him from Crystal Palace. But I think he can be our right back for the next 9 or 10 years. We've also got other options at right back. We've got Diego Dalot. He didn't, play any part of the game against Lask. He wasn't even named in the 30-man squad. But there's been good news coming out today regarding Dalot, because he has been back in training. Allegedly, Dalot was injured for our game against Lask recently, and this is why he didn't play any part. I don't think Diego Dalot is good enough to represent Manchester United, like I've mentioned before. He's been at the club now a couple of years. We did get Diego Dalot in Jose Mourinho's final transfer window. Obviously, we got him for £19 million from Porto, and he has got a contract with us till 2023. Dalot's only made 11 appearances for Man United in all competitions this season, but I think only made one start in the Premier League. He had back-to-back injuries, don't forget, earlier on in the season. Its recent stories have said that Everton are interested in Dalot, and Everton believe that they can get him for around £10 million. We wouldn't want to let him go for £10 million because that would be bad business from the club, because we'd be letting him go cheaper than what we paid for him, But Everton are in search for fullbacks, because obviously they're looking for a long-term replacement for Coleman. Obviously, Leighton Baines retired, don't forget. But I think we're open to selling Dalot. Ethan Laird, he's also another option at right back we've got. I'm surprised Ethan Laird didn't play any part in the game against Lask recently, because there was talks saying that, he could have been involved. He wasn't so long ago he got promoted into the senior squad. But yeah, I think it will be Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back. Obviously, Victor Lindelof, I expect him to be back in the team. He didn't play any part against Lask either. Victor Lindelof has also been back in training. It got reported that Victor Lindelof had no injury at all, but we just decided to rest him for the game against Lask. Victor Lindelof, he has endured 3 years now at Manchester United, and my perception on Victor Lindelof is that his season's been up and down. He's had some good games where he's got in good positions and he showed that ability to play out from the back, and he's made some very, very good interceptions and stuff. But there's other games, where he's looked too exposed, being caught out too easily on the counter-attack. So there's still aspects of his game that I've got to improve. Victor Lindelof did struggle for that consistency in his first season when we brought him under Mourinho. We did pay £30 million for him from Benfica. Last season and this season, though, a lot of aspects of his game have improved, to be fair. But he obviously, he is one of our first choice centre-halves. Tuan Zebe and Luke Shaw are obviously not available. Tuan Zebe is out with injury. I think he's going to be back for the new season, is Axel Tuan Zebe. Luke Shaw is also going to be back for the new season. Luke Shaw is out with an ankle injury. I think Luke Shaw's enjoyed a pretty good season for Manchester United. Obviously, he's been a long servant of the club. This was Luke Shaw's 6th season at Man United. Obviously, we got him from Southampton back in 2014 for around, was it £30 million? I think he will remain our first choice left back for next season because he's more experienced than Brandon Williams. But my only element of concern about him, he is injury prone. Obviously, sustained his ankle injury towards the end of the Premier League season. Also had a bad injury at the first part of the season as well. So we know that they're not available. Phil Jones possibly could be named in the squad. He has been injured, but Solskjaer has said now he's close to recovering. It is Phil Jones. He's close to recovering. I expect Harry Maguire to keep his place in the team. He actually did play in the game against Lask. And I think, there's still aspects of Harry Maguire's game that have got to improve. Some Manchester United fans don't think he's good enough to captain the team, Harry Maguire. He's had an up and down season, he's had some good games and he's also had some bad games. I think he scored 2 or 3 goals for the club so far. He scored in the 6-0 win against Tranmere, he scored in the game against Chelsea, and he also scored in the 2-1 win at Norwich in the FA Cup quarter-final, didn't he? He scored in extra time. We did pay £80 million for Harry Maguire last summer, so he's the second most expensive signing at the club at the moment, and he is the most expensive centre-half in the world. Maybe Eric Bailly, he could play this game. I think there's a possibility chance that we could actually sell Eric Bailly in the summer transfer window. Not because he's a bad centre-half, obviously, he's just very, very injury-prone. Obviously, Eric Bailly, in pre-season last summer, sustained a bad knee injury, and that kept him out until February. Then he came back and, put some good performances out, to be fair to him. But then, of course, Bailly sustained a head injury in our 3-1 defeat to Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final. This has been Bailly's 4th season at Man United. We did pay around £30 million in from Villarreal back in 2016. Paul Pogba, I expect him to be in the starting 11. Obviously, Paul Pogba didn't start against Lask recently, but he did come off the bench, did Pogba. Now, I think we are going to end the uncertainty over Paul Pogba's future, because I'm very, very convinced that Man United are going to get him a new long-term contract at the club. Now, don't forget, Fabrizio Romano came out recently, and Fabrizio Romano is a very reliable Italian journalist, and he says that Pogba's happy at Man United and he wants to stay at the club. And he said that, he expects Man United to open negotiations with his agent Mini Raiola over getting him a new contract. Probably he'll end up signing a 4 or a 5-year deal. As it stands at the moment, Pogba's just got under a year left on his Man United contract, but the club do have an option to extend it for a further year. Like I said, for the vast majority of the season, I didn't really have a perception on Paul Pogba, because don't forget, he had that ankle injury, but Pogba has sustained quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. But at one point, it was looking very imminent. He was going to leave the football club, because Real Madrid were in for him. There was stories about him going back to Juventus, and Paul Pogba did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus. Also to PSG, Barca and Inter Milan have also been in for him before. But I think Paul Pogba's got a massive future at the football club. He's 27, still got a hell of a lot of development in him. This was his 4th season at Manchester United. As it stands at the moment, he is our most expensive signing, because we did pay £89 million for him. So I expect him to be back in the starting 11. Nemanja Matic, he could possibly be involved in this game, because Matic didn't play any part in the game against Lask recently. Obviously, towards the end of the Premier League season, Nemanja Matic was getting a lot of starts for Manchester United. He was getting there ahead of the likes of Fred and McTominay. But for the vast majority of the Premier League season, it was Fred and McTominay that was getting, starts and that. I think Matic has had a good season, for Man United. This has been Matic's 3rd season at the football club. Obviously, we did pay £40 million in from Chelsea back in 2017. Nemanja Matic. But I think a lot of aspects of his game have really, really improved. He gets in good positions now. He keeps the ball better. He passes the ball quite well. So I've been very, very impressed with him. I expect Fred and McTominay to be involved in this game. Obviously, Fred and McTominay, they did play in the game against Lask. They both started. My perception on Fred, I think he's had a pretty good season for Manchester United, to be honest with you. He wasn't... Obviously, he got a lot of criticism under the Jose Mourinho era, but obviously, Fred never really got his opportunities under the Jose Mourinho era. Fred's been at the club now, is it, a couple of years. We did get him in Jose Mourinho's final transfer window. We did pay around £52 million for Fred from Shakhtar Donetsk, didn't we? And I thought he was also exceptional in Ukraine. Tom Inway, I think he's had a pretty good season for Man United. Don't forget, though, he was out with that ankle injury earlier on in the season. But he's definitely the foreseeable future for Manchester United. Also, too, Bruno Fernandes. I probably expect him to be involved in the game against Copenhagen. He didn't play any part in the game against Lask recently, Bruno Fernandes. He was rested. I definitely think, Bruno Fernandes has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. He really, really has. I think Bruno Fernandes has got like 10 goals for us in all competitions since his arrival from Lisbon in January. Don't forget, he has won Player of the Month like 3 times as Bruno Fernandes. I think he won it for, was it June? He won it for June. I think he also won it for March, was it? And he also won it for February. But he has definitely made the difference in the team. I also thought Bruno Fernandes did very, very well on his debut against Wolves. Maybe he'll be rested, but I think, he could be involved in the game. Mason Greenwood. He didn't play any part in the 2-1 win against Lask either. He was rested, was Greenwood. I expect probably Greenwood to be involved in this one. Like I said to you, I think Greenwood's enjoyed a very, very good season for Manchester United. Obviously, for the vast majority of the Premier League season, a lot of Mason Greenwood's appearances were coming from that substitutes bench. But towards the end of the Premier League season, Mason Greenwood was getting a lot of starts. He was getting there ahead of Daniel James. I think Greenwood scored, is it 21 goals, 22 goals for us in all competitions this season. And it was only his first full season in the senior squad. But he's definitely the foreseeable future for Man United. Also, to Marcus Rashford. He could be involved in this game as well. Rashford didn't play any part in the game against Lask recently. Rashford's season, I haven't really had the perception on it because, he was out with that back injury, don't forget, for quite a few months. The start of the season didn't really make the best of impacts, and towards the end of the season, I don't think he made the best of impacts, but still a world-class player is Rashford, and I still think he's a foreseeable future for Man United. Throughout the course of this season, Rashford has been playing on that left-hand side. But, Rashford has been a United player since the age of 7, and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. And since then has become an integral part of our team. Anthony Martial. I think he'll be involved. Anthony Martial scored the winner against Lask recently. He didn't start the game, but he did come off the bench to score the winner. That was Martial's 23rd goal for Manchester United in all competitions this season. Martial's enjoyed a very, very good season for us. Flourished under Solskjaer. 51 goals for him, I think, now in the Premier League. Don't forget, he scored a hat-trick in our 3-0 win against Sheffield United. And that was his first senior hat-trick for the club. And he became the first Manchester United player to score a hat-trick since Robin van Persie back in 2012. He's had 2 good seasons out of the 5 seasons he's been in. He's done well this season under the Solskjaer era, and he did well in his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. And we did pay around 36 million for Anthony Martial from Monaco. So he's been a United player since he was the age of 19. But Solskjaer anyway now has got a lot of faith in him. Daniel James. Do you think he could be involved in the game? Personally, I wouldn't, play Daniel James because Daniel James has actually, been quite poor recently. And throughout the course of the Premier League season, I think we overplayed him anyway. But towards the end of the season, Daniel James weren't getting starts, so there's a possibility chance we could loan him out for next season. It was a cheap solution, we did pay around 15 million for Daniel James last summer from Swansea. Juan Mata, I think he could be involved in the game. Juan Mata, did start the game against Lask recently. Don't forget, he got both of the assists for both of the goals. And like I said, I know that Juan Mata now doesn't get a lot of chances, but when he does, he still makes a fantastic impact. This has been Juan Mata's 6th season at the football club, so he's been a long-serving player at Man United. Obviously, we got him from Chelsea back in 2014 for just under £40 million. I believe probably Jesse Lingard. He's probably going to start the game. Jesse Lingard did score the equalising game against Lask. To be fair to Lingard, he's done well in his last 2 games because he has scored in his last 2 games. And, Lingard does want to stay at Man United because he believes he's got a long future with the club from now. Solskjaer, is an admirer of the player because he coached him when he was a youth player. But, recent reports have said, that we have put Jesse Lingard up for sale. I think we'd probably get around 20 million or just over 20 million for him. As it stands at the moment, Lingard's just got under a year left on his Man United contract, but the club do have an option to extend it for a further year. Everton, of course, are the ones that are interested in him. So, there you go. So, yeah, Solskjaer will probably play a strongest team, a strongest team, because, he doesn't want to really take any risks. Because look at the game against Lask recently, we didn't play our strongest team and look what happened. The performance was poor and we only just got past them. You know what I mean? But Solskjaer there again had only made a few changes from the first leg when we beat Lask 5-0. But he did make like 9 changes, from our 2-0 win against Leicester on the final day of the Premier League season. Look at the game against Norwich in the FA Cup quarter-final. Didn't go with the best team and we struggled in that one. Chelsea game in the FA Cup semi-final didn't go with the strongest team and look what happened. So, I just don't think Solskjaer, is going to take any risks. I don't think he's going to. Because, obviously, the Europa League is a priority for Manchester United. Obviously, it's a chance of us winning our first trophy in over 3 years and winning our first trophy under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. But we actually are the favourites to win the Europa League. We won the Europa League back in 2017 under the Jose Mourinho era. We did beat Ajax in the final by 2-0. But we've got a lot of good young players that are coming through. And like I said in the game against Lask recently, I was surprised that James Garner didn't play any part because there was talk saying that he could have been involved. Tahith Chong did though. He came off the bench, didn't he? Tiedemann Menge, he made his debut against Lask because he also, came off the bench. We've got Dylan Levitt, he's another option who we could give an opportunity to. Dylan Levitt. So, yeah, we have got a lot of young players that are coming through. Ethan Galbraith, he's another player that got mentioned before last, but he didn't play any part in the game against Lask. But it'd be interesting to see how he approaches the game. In the game against Lask, Solskjaer went with the 4-1-4-1 formation, and we don't really go with that formation, to be quite honest with you. For the vast majority of this season, Solskjaer has stuck with that 4-2-3-1 formation. A few times gone with the 4-3-3. A few times he's gone with 3 at the back. But we mainly do go with that 4-2-3-1 formation. But, I actually think that Manchester United are going to win the Europa League. I really, really do. Obviously, you know the news on the transfers. I give you the news on Jadon Sancho, didn't I, this morning from Borussia Dortmund. We have got to sign Jadon Sancho within the next 48 hours because Borussia Dortmund have set their deadline for the sale of Jadon Sancho. And we've got until the 10th of August to sign the player. And the 10th of August is in 2 days' time, which is on Monday. And I think recently Jadon Sancho has been in a WhatsApp WhatsApp group with some of our players. Obviously, there was reports coming out from the German press today saying that Borussia Dortmund are willing to offer Jadon Sancho a new contract if we do not meet their asking price for Sancho, and Borussia Dortmund are willing to double his wages. Sancho's current contract at the moment at Dortmund runs until 2022. But throughout the course of this transfer saga regarding Sancho, Borussia Dortmund have remained ruthless over their valuation. Obviously, Dortmund have said that they want over £100 million for the player. We've said several times we are not willing to meet what Borussia Dortmund are demanding. And I said, didn't I? It's Borussia Dortmund's asking price that has definitely been the stumbling block. I think we're looking to pay around £60 or £70 million up front. Borussia Dortmund are looking for around, £90 million up front. Obviously, if we do pay what Dortmund want, then obviously, he's going to be our most expensive signing and the most expensive English player in history. But I think it mentioned that if we're trying to get Sancho and we're trying to pay something in like 3 annual instalments, and it also said, there will be add-ons included in the deal. But Fabrizio Romano came out earlier on this week and he said that negotiations between Manchester United and Dortmund were at an advanced stage, didn't he? Don't forget. And he also said that Sancho has agreed personal terms with Manchester United, and it said, he's set to sign a 5-year contract with the football club worth around 340 grand a week. I think it also mentioned recently that a fee had been agreed. You had the stories coming out earlier on this week saying that talks had broken down between United and Dortmund, and the deal was likely to be off because of Borussia Dortmund's asking price. You had Borussia Dortmund's CEO, he come out recently and denied that Man United were in advanced talks to sign the player. But as far as I'm aware, Sancho still wants to come to the football club. Dortmund fly to Switzerland next week and we've got to get a deal finalised before then. So if we don't sign him by Monday, Sancho to Manchester United is off. But it's very imperative that we get him on the board because he is our number one priority target. Personally speaking, I don't think he's worth what Dortmund are demanding, but we just can't convince Dortmund to lower their asking price. And this is, the problem, you see. There's not only Sancho on our agenda, though. There's a lot of players on our agenda. Solskjaer's already outlined his transfer plans. He's instructed our board to go and get his preferred targets. Solskjaer said he wants to make at least 3 signings in this summer transfer window. He's already identified the areas in the squad where he does want to strengthen up. Earlier on in his managerial career, he had worked out his transfer strategy. He wants to recruit young British talents to Manchester United. I think Ed Woodward has said, that he wants Man United to make around 3 or 4 signings in this summer transfer window. But I believe we're going to recruit well because Solskjaer exceeded expectations in his first full season at the club. Obviously, we got Champions League qualification that we needed. Obviously, we finished 3rd. That was also very, very good. We also progressed to 2 semi-finals. The FA Cup semi-final. We also progressed to the EFL Cup semi-final. And now, obviously, we are into the quarter-finals of the Europa League. So, Solskjaer did very, very well in his first full season. But obviously, next season is the big test for Solskjaer because next season he'll have bigger expectations to exceed. And obviously next season will be his second full season at the football club. But Solskjaer needs more time at Man United because it is a transition period and it has been a transition period for a while. And he said at the start of the year he's hopeful that we can get through this transition period. But like I've said to you before, the vast majority of this team is not Solskjaer's. He's inheriting players either from the Mourinho era, still a few players either from the Van Gaal era and Moyes here. And there's still Mattery from the Moyes area, and there's still a few players here from the Alex Ferguson era. But the vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's. And Solskjaer has been at Manchester United now over a year and a half. And he's learnt quite a lot, reflecting how long he's been at the football club. But like I've said to you now, I've definitely seen improvements under him. You know, he's promoted the youth well this season. Record against the top 6 sides has been very, very good. He's also got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended into Manchester United as well. Our recruitment's definitely improved under him. So far, Solskjaer spent just over £200 million at Man United, and so far he has made 4 permanent signings. So I have definitely, you know, seen improvements under him, but there's still improvements definitely needed at Manchester United. But yeah, we can't only focus on the incomings in this summer transfer window. We've also got to focus on the outgoings, you know, because still, quite frankly, you know, these still deadwood at the football club that we do need to get rid of. Like I said, we've extended a lot of players' contracts since Solskjaer came in, but we've still got around 8 players' contracts that are due to expire next year. So that's another decision Solskjaer has got to make. But yeah. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.